Okay, what we're going to do now is, if let's say you just have lots of interest and you have a lot of intrinsic value. So I came up with this thing called the opportunity filter. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is to post this with this video so that people can look at it. But what I'd like you to do is, if you have a bunch of things you like to do, I want you to put all the ones down here on one side. On the left, you'll just put down every opportunity that you can think of, and then we're going to score this, and you're going to come up with a score. And you can see right away some have much greater opportunity than others. That's why it's called the opportunity filter. So I'm going to walk you through it just briefly, but then you could take it and do it yourself. So if you've got two or more, list all of them. And then we start to go through and look at how to do it. And so you'll see that there has a weighting system. Some of the weighting goes as high as 30 points. Some goes as low as 10 points. And higher is better. So the very first one I have in here is the financial investment that's required. In other words, the less you have to put up money, the better. What's so wonderful now about the basically go online and dealing with uh, financing, or you can finance it through, Indiegogo, you can finance it through a lot of these companies that are willing now to put money up. So you really don't have to have any money. You just have to have a really good idea, intrinsically desire. So don't worry about the money. So, but if the less you need, the better. And so you got a scale here from 1 to 10. And if it doesn't need really any money, you can go at the top. Okay, crowdsourcing is really, or crowdfunding is really the key, not sources. It's funding. And there are many, many, many places now that you can go to get this. So you want to put the financial. So if it's very little money is needed, you put yourself up at the top, a 10. If it takes a lot of money, you're going to make it a 1. And go through all of your, if you've got 5 different ones, how much is the financial investment required? Go through each of them. The more money it needs, the lower your score. Okay? Now the next one, this is really important, okay, is barrier to entry. So how unique is this? And how do you do it? Can you stop other people? Like if you wanted to do a cleaning service, the barrier to entry is not there. People just go get a mop and a thing and they can become a cleaning person. There's no barrier to entry, or very little barrier to entry. That's not what you want. You want something that's going to be unique, that's specialized, and we're going to get into the dive out of all of this. I don't know if I'm covering it in this one. I don't think so. No, I'm not. But the whole idea here is barrier to entry. You want a high barrier so that you will be unique. Now, no matter what, people will watch these videos. I've read, I don't know how many books, but I bet it's close to 30,000. And how many people have read 30,000 and can remember most of it? So that it's very difficult for people to do what I do because they haven't read 30,000 books. So the barrier to entry is very high for others to try to come into what I'm doing. And I mean, it just is. So what you're looking at is barrier. Now the next one, which is very, very important, is leverage. You may be the greatest masseur in the world or masseuse, but you can only do one person. It's not enough leverage. And if you start to look at what's going on the planet, you can see leverage. I mean, teachers have very little leverage. That's why you get paid very little. My son is in the movie business. He makes the movie once. They make thousands of copies. And, he gets paid millions and millions of dollars to do movies. And so he's got the leverage. So that what you got to understand is a great idea. How much leverage is there? It used to be like real estate used to be the big leverage. You could put 10% down and then you get the inflation plus you get blah, blah, blah. And therefore, if you added more value by fixing it up, that's the high leverage point and wealth creation until the internet. Now, the internet is way, way more powerful, way more leverage than real estate, although real estate's still a great way to make money. And I'm writing a book on it right now. Just in real estate, it's not, though, the internet. The internet is where you want to go. So high, high leverage. How do I get this leveraged? So that's at number 3, and that has 30 points, okay? The one on barrier to entry has 20. The first one has 10, so it's 10. No, the barrier to entry has only 10, so it's 10, 10, but this one has 30 points. So leverage is critical, okay? The higher, the more leverage you can get, the better. So don't be a teacher. Don't, even what I teach is not leverage enough. This is leverage right now because you're on the internet and you can see it. That's the leverage. Okay, the next one is revenue. And you have to look at how much expected revenue can you get. One of the beautiful things about the internet is givers get. You must first give before you get. It's not the other way around. So the very first thing, givers get, that's the rule in the internet. So add value first, get your clientele to trust you and what you're doing. The financial piece comes later, but it still should be there. If there's no financial revenue, then it's ultimately can't sustain itself, and you can't afford to pay people to work with you unless you can figure out a way to create the leverage. So that's the next piece. Okay, then you get into the next piece here, basically, is an opportunity cascade. Now, opportunity cascade, people don't understand it, but the pet rock is a classic example. The guy got a lot of money from making a pet rock, but what does he do next? I mean, where's it going? Where's the cascade? There's no cascade or very little cascade with a pet rock. But if you have something that has opportunity around it, you know, for instance, you do this, you could teach, you write a book, whatever, da 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 da. You want to look for the opportunity cascades, and so that's another one, and that one also has 20 points, and so does a revenue. So you can start to put these together and realize whatever you're doing, is there an opportunity cascade? People watch my blog and call me, and you know that's people I would never know or meet before if they hadn't seen it. So opportunity cascade comes in. The next one is passion. Is it intrinsically something you want to do? If it is, that's where you want to be. If it's you're doing it to make money, this will not work. It's got to be purpose and aligned with your passion. If it's not, it's work. Somebody said to me, when am I going to retire? And I had to think about that question. I said, retire. And then I looked at him, I said, well, don't you have to go to work before you can get retired? And I said, since I've never worked, I can't retire. So what I'm saying is if it's passion you're doing and it's driving you intrinsically, everything's going to work way, way, way better. And so that one's also got, you know, 20 points. So you've got to start to think about that. Then you go on over to the timing. Is this the right time? See, the world is attempting to converge. So becoming the midwife for global convergence is what I'd like Berkman to be. And that means to help facilitate positive global convergence. And I think the timing's perfect. You know, we've got the reactive people and the political piece, the people that don't want change. In fact, most people don't like change. I mean, a baby likes change, but other than that, most people do not like change. And so you want to stay understanding here that the timing, and you're going to not get a lot of agreement. If you do, you're not really out there. Leaders never have full agreement. Think about all the great leaders, Gandhi, Jesus, you know, any of these people, they never had full agreement. If they did, they weren't leading. So expect to get lots of disagreement. That's okay. If it fits with intrinsically within you, okay, and the timing feels right for you, to do it. Okay, then we go ahead, then the next one is time and attention. How much time and attention is it going to take? Now, this is really a tough one because doing what we're doing now, it takes a lot of time and a lot of attention. And so, I mean, it's probably gets a very low mark here because I have to sit down and do this. And what I'd rather be doing is reading and studying, but then I'll realize if I study and I don't share, that doesn't do any good. So I am willing to give myself a low grade on basically time and attention because this is very intensive, very time consuming. Okay? Now the next thing is the fat tail. Now fat tail, people don't even think about it, but that's what caused the crash in 2008 is that they all went out. The same thing happened when they had the wrong theory with the internet. They used Metcalfe's law theory of the value of a network doubles with every person. That's just not true. Zipf's law is the right one. And when they started to do it, you could see the value isn't right. Using the Metcalfe's law, which is a theory they bought into, they made all these huge evaluations, and of course it's going to crash because it's the wrong theory. If they had used Zipf's law, everything else would have been differently. So you've got to understand here that this is not easy to do, and there's going to be a fat tail if you got the wrong theory, even if you have the right theory. For instance, we're looking at doing a thing with Buckminster Fullerenes, and what we realize that in this country, we've got the FDA. Now, the FDA is going to want to shut this down because it's a free radical and it's 172 times better than vitamin C, which is one of the highest free radicals, and it's happening. Now, what's going to happen is Merck is already trying to get a corner on this market. Now, what they'll do is they'll get an FDA approval, and then they're going to try to shut down everybody who's not FDA approved. So that is a fat tail if we do this project, which is we're analyzing it and looking if we can add enough value there and do it. Okay, so what do we come out fat tail? How do we deal with that? Well, you better have another source of manufacturing outside of the United States. Doesn't matter what country. We're thinking right now of either Costa Rica or one of those countries where we will absolutely have another place so that when Merck gets in, gets their FDA approval and they want to shut us down, all we do, because it's a global economy, we just bring our facilities to another country where the FDA has no say, and we sell it from there through the internet. So the government can't stop it, even though they want. But had we not thought about the fat tail, we would never be anticipating what's about to happen. With Merck has already filed for this, and I can already see the writing. They're going to say, if you don't have FDA approval, you can't do it. Well, you can do it, just you have to do it from outside of this country. So studying for fat tails, most people want to just stay positive. Well, stay positive, but also look and see if there's a fat tail. And in this case, with the Buckminster fullerene and the antioxidant, which is amazing, humans should have it. It shouldn't be run by big pharma. It should be inexpensive. It should be there for people to use. We've got some studies that show this stuff is amazing. And yet, big pharma will shut us down because they don't want us to give it away or give it away at a little price. So you've got to study the fat tail potential. What could go wrong? Assume that it does. Look out. I mean, you could see the .com was going to come down. I can see what's going to happen with the fullerene. It's going to get shut down by the big pharma is going to want to say you've got to have FDA approval, and they're the only ones that have it. They're in the process of doing it right now. So big deal is basically understanding that, okay? And so then you get to the next one here, basically, how long does it take to get revenue? If you got a great idea and it's going to take 2 or 3 years, that's not going to work. You've got to have cash flow right away. And so you've got to look speed to revenue. And if it's a long time, that's terrible. So once again, you've got, to figure that out. And we have on this one 12, okay? And then the next one is probability of success. Now, if you look at the fullerene, which we're looking at, okay, I mean, it deals with longevity and it deals with health. And who does not want to live longer and live better and better health? So it seems to me like that this has got a huge opportunity to be successful as long as we keep our integrity, as long as we know what we're doing, this can work. So all I'm saying is you add up all of these and you're going to come across as a total line. You're going to have this with you, and you total up all of them and see which ones are the high ones. Now, don't necessarily take the highest one, but look at the top ones. Be realistic. The ones at the top, pick one of the top ones. But this is just one method. The other method, you got to love it. You got to want to do it. But this is a great start to get more linear about all the opportunities that you have coming your way. I learned from Bucky a long time ago that the bigger the picture, the more accurate your prediction. There's nothing in a caterpillar, if you just study a caterpillar, will ever tell you about scenario butterfly. So my entire life, I am working as much as I can to be a comprehensivist. That is interested in everything, so I can make better choices, better decisions, and have a better perspective. What can I do for you?